share with me and get to know me.
Working within it so that you can trust
You got to
them.
be able to produce things. And I'll tell you why that production is so important. But before we go there, how do you use those two pieces of equipment? And
Success is not necessarily financial, but success is when you feel fulfilled in what you're doing. And then
to other women, they need to know their value, their worth.
But I believe everything that you put your mind to and you achieve, it's success.
Give us all the stuff.
Okay, I'll answer all 16 of those questions right now. I started in the music business at Sony while I was still...
Hello, my name is Renee Hastings, and I'm your host of Renee Speaks. Y'all, today's guest, I'm so excited. She is a highly skilled and experienced Gallup certified strengths coach. She's on a mission to help entrepreneurs overcome shiny object syndrome. How many of y'all can relate? She also wants to help us achieve our goals, and she's a dynamic speaker, a trainer, an author, and the founder of the CEO Way and Impact Makers Playground. After a successful 20-year career in a multinational company employing over 13,000 people and generating over $10 billion in sales, she decided to start her coaching business and founded Own Your Confidence. She believes that everyone should be excited by the work they're doing and that celebrating and engaging your strengths is how you own your confidence. Please join me in welcoming Consuela Muñoz.
Hi.
Hey, Consuela, how are
Good
you?
morning. So glad to be here.
We are so excited. I know I personally could not be more thrilled that you are here because I firmly believe that I have shiny object syndrome. I hadn't heard about it before we started researching various guests for the show, but when I heard about it, it instantly struck a chord with me. And I was like, we've got to have her on the show. We just gotta. I need to know more about this because it sounds like it's me. So Consuela, I want to turn it all over to you. Tell us about your journey, how you discovered this thing called shiny object syndrome and what it is and how we can fix it. Or does it need fixing?
Yeah, shiny object syndrome. It wasn't something I realized about myself right away either, right? I probably have always had it, but once you become an entrepreneur, right? Like I'm in my second act, and I came from very structured corporate world. I'm in charge of myself and I'm going to do all the things. And so my focus was all over the place because it could be, right? I'm in charge. So it can be wherever. And so I'd start this project and then I'd have another absolutely brilliant idea, of course, because all my ideas are brilliant. And then I'd be like, okay, let me work on this. And I'd be like, wait, I'm supposed to be doing that. Oh, okay, so now do I go back to that or keep going where I am? And so I'm like, while I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to go back or keep going, oh, wait, I could do that thing over there. And so constantly switching from thing to thing, and I was at a in-person event for small business owners, probably over 100 folks. And as I'm sitting in the back of the audience, kind of like in the center, I'd snuck in late, right? And I'm sitting there. There's this lady up front, and she's on the stage, and she's asking our virtual keynote speaker, who is Mel Robbins, by the way, super awesome. She's asking her, like, what do I do about all these ideas in my head, all these like rabid squirrels running around? And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, oh, like I leaned in, and it was like I felt everybody in the audience collectively leaning in like, yes, we need to know what is the answer to this. And Mel Robbins goes, well, you got to kill the squirrels. And we were all cracking up and laughing. But part of me was like, what? I love my ideas, my squirrels. I don't want to kill them.
Right.
It was after that night. It was after that, when you get done with a big day of events, right? And you're sitting by yourself in the hotel room and you're like thinking about things. I'm like, oh my goodness. I have shiny object syndrome. And this is really getting in my way, because when you do that, you get overwhelmed and then you pull back and you recalculate and you reformulate. And that's not forward progress. You lose momentum when you stop to recalibrate, right? And that's when I realized this is my thing. I got to fix this. How am I going to fix this and move forward?
Right. Absolutely. And further to what you're saying about recalibrating, we all have to do that every now and then, especially if one of our squirrels is leading us down a path that is not productive, not producing, not achieving the anticipated goals or results that we have. So sometimes we do have to strategically recalibrate so that even if we do have to pump the brakes a little bit, and that's okay. That can be totally okay, because then you'll know that whatever next thing you are heading toward, it is in line with the purpose that you have for yourself and your business. So I totally get that and could not agree more, because as an entrepreneur, we do get approached by people who are so well-intentioned. And I'm glad that you discovered it at a seminar. But they have all these great ideas and they say, oh, you should do this or you should do that. Just like you said, you should do this or you should do that. And that's one of the things that we'll talk about a little bit later, I'm sure, is how those squirrels align with where you're going on your journey and the goals that you have set for yourself. So I really, truly appreciate your the way you put that, and I'm glad that the lady mentioned it in the audience. Like all the squirrels, they're in there, but I agree with you. I don't want to kill my squirrels either, because
because I'm brilliant. My ideas are the best ideas ever. Why would I want to do them, right?
Of course. So tell us a little bit more about shiny object syndrome. How did you even know those words and to put them together and that they are a thing?
Well, again, so I'm looking at like, okay, I'm kind of a nerd at heart, right? So the first thing I'm like, this is in my way. And, I'm a strengths coach. And so Gallup certified strength coach. And I know that I don't have focus and discipline and deliberative. Those are at the bottom of my pile of strengths, right? They're not at the top of my list. And I'm like, okay, well, how do I figure out with the strengths I have, how do I get to focus and discipline? And so I started researching like, okay, and that's when shiny object syndrome as a term really came up. And you read the definition, I was like, yep, that's me. That's what I have, And so then it's down that shiny object path, right? Like, oh, and really it's about how can we increase our focus. And one of the things I want to touch on what you said is so important is we talk about, I talk about the structured versus the not structured, right? And so some of us can now be in that second act, can be kind of goal adverse, right? Like I was like, I don't want to set goals, but right. At the end of the day, if we don't know where we're going, it's really hard to get there. And so looking at goals is really important, and how you feel about them. I know there's SMART goals, and we're not going to do SMART goals. What I do instead is more powerful goals. What does that long-term vision look like for you based on where your strengths are, what you're best at, what you enjoy doing, what gives you purpose? What's that vision? And then we align our way down from that long-term, whatever that's 5, 10, down to 3 years, and down to right now. What do you have to do right now that's going to get you closer to that vision? So you're not just going after anything. You're going after something that's so important to you. It's so important that nothing else can get in the way.
Right.
We have to set them that important.
Right. Power goals. So power goals are what will impact our productivity.
For sure. Yeah.
And so what As you were starting your journey, Consuela, what's some of the most important advice that you received when you started? Like, how did you, um, who told you some of the most valuable things that helped you along your way?
Well, so for me, it is that community of other entrepreneurs, right?
Mhm.
Be with the people you want to be. So with these other entrepreneurs, and it really comes back to, okay, I'm going to have to set a goal whether I want to or not, but be really thinking about that. If you're going to make it, you have to be intentional. You know, we talk about being authentic, but be intentional with what you're doing, with the actions you're taking, with the time, the way you're spending your time. Be intentional with that. Intentional in, you know, where you want to get to. What are you going to do today, every day, that gets you closer to that? And so this group of entrepreneurs that are a little bit further than me has really given me that advice that's helped me, you know, to stay focused and clear, because it can get confusing. So to stay clear while I'm pursuing that really powerful goal.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, there cannot be enough said about the importance of community.
Oh, for sure.
Community is so critical, so critical. So as you have discovered all of the things that you needed to know along your journey, and you leaned into the advice and the counsel of these wise folks in your circle, what are some warning signs that someone might be falling prey to shiny object syndrome? What have you learned about that?
Well, so, you know, I'm kind of a jokester, but one of the top thing on my, like, you know, if you did the top 10 list of things, the number one thing, well, there's a couple of them. Like, if you have the first thing you want to do is buy a domain name, your shiny object might be getting out of control, right? That faces a lot of us. If you're in a lot of beta testing, like, oh, I'm in this beta test or that beta test, you have to have all the greatest, newest software and be cutting edge, and you're doing all that. But one of the number one things at the top of the list is, if you are changing your annual goal every 3 months, then it's probably getting in your way.
Wow.
And in fact, I have some people that are like, annual goal? I don't do that. That is part of it.
Wow, that is so funny that you say that. And the one that sticks out to me is buying a domain name, because that is so me, because I did that. I totally did that. I had this really great idea, and I totally did that. I went out and I was like, oh, I want to make sure nobody gets the name of this new business I'm getting ready to start. So I went out and I bought a domain name. And have I used it yet? No. Is it still sitting in my list of domain names and on my host? Yes. It's just sitting there. So, oh my gosh, it is so funny that you mentioned that. Buying a domain
I mean,
name.
that's one of the ones at the bottom of the list. Like, if you're an entrepreneur, chances are you have a whole stable of domain names that are kind of languishing there. And that is part of the thing. Like, have a process, right? Have a process for that, you know, reviewing those in your stable and being like, do I really need that? Am I going to do anything with that? Right. And that's one part of our process, right? Is really, we've got to set those goals, but then evaluating every idea that comes in front of us against those goals and deciding, is this something that's going to help me with my goal right now? Right. If yes, that can be an action. If it's not, but of course it's a brilliant idea, that's a distraction. We store them on our impact board, actions, distractions. And by that way, we're not storing them here. We're not keeping them in our brain and running through them. Right. We're storing them. We haven't forgot them, but we don't have to think about them anymore. They don't cause that churning feeling in our brains because we've stored them. And it's okay to get those domain names, but then in partner with, like, if you decide, yeah, I'm not going to pursue that doesn't, or, you know, it's not going to be something I'm going to do. I'm going to donate to someone else. Go release yourself from that domain name, right?
Right,
Clean
exactly.
up
And
some of that clutter a little bit.
right, yeah, we got to clear the clutter. And I love how you put it, having an action, distraction, impact board. Because we don't have to let go completely. We can put them somewhere, like park
Yeah.
them on this
Yeah.
action, distraction,
Yep.
impact board. And that will help us, like you said, determine whether or not is this something that's going to help me right now, or is it something that's going to pull me away from where I ultimately want to be. And we don't want that, but we also don't want to lose it either. So
Right.
I love that you have that suggestion to have an action, distraction, impact board.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, it's the next step up from vision board, right? You've got your vision, and that's
right.
really good, but you got to take some action if you want to have impact. So we have our impact board, and once you start using it, it's really easy to be like, wait a second, let me run that through my questions. Nope,
Mm.
that's a distraction, and then it's not up here anymore. Keeps
That's
you
right.
clear on where your path is.
That's right. That's right. So, speaking of those questions, can you share any resources or tools that you can recommend for small business owners or entrepreneurs who are struggling with shiny object syndrome? I know that this action, distraction, impact board is one. I think that that's fantastic. Are there other resources?
Well, and so this is, I have a quiz. What kind of squirrel are you? Because, one day I'm watching the squirrel and he's running around, and, people are always like, squirrel. And that's like distraction, shiny object syndrome. And so people talk about chasing squirrels. And I'm like, wait a second.
Mm.
We are not chasing squirrels. We are the squirrels. If you think about it, right? We're just like squirrels running around half the time. We have all these things started, just like they bury all their nuts, and then they're like, where are my nuts? Where are my nuts? And we're like, what do I work on? What do I work on? And so we're
Right.
just like squirrels. And so this quiz is something that's loosely based on strengths, but more importantly, on the distractions that are going to tempt you, so that you can face them head on and use that information to your advantage. So go find out what kind of squirrel you are, and then you can get some resources like the idea funnel. Like, okay, if it's, is this idea going to help my current target audience? Is it going to cost a lot of money to do this? How much time will it take? All these extra things that get to the point of helping us decide, is that an action or a distraction, so that we can move forward.
Right, exactly. Well, thank you so much for this resource, because knowledge is power, ultimately. And if you don't know what you don't know. So this amazing quiz that you created will help us get to the bottom of, where am I? What are my squirrels? and what type of squirrel am I? And will help me. And I'm saying me because this truly does apply to me, because I love what I do. I own a virtual assistant service, and we impact so many lives. Our clients are just thrilled with our service, and there's so many different ways that we can continue to improve their workload and release them from things that they don't need to be doing, and lighten their load. And so we are constantly brainstorming, how can we be better? What can we do better? How can we be faster? How can we, just be the best, And so along that journey of trying to figure that out, there's so many ideas, so many really, really great ideas. And so I love your quiz that says, is this getting in your way? How much time will it take? Because I'm so quick to say, oh, that's a great idea, let's do it. Right?
Yeah, here we go. I mean, and that is an entrepreneurial trait, right?
Right. I don't know how much time it's going to take. I don't know how much money it's going to cost. I don't know. Right? And
I'll figure it out later. And then what? Where am I? What's happening? Right. Where are we doing?
Exactly. And then you get halfway through and you're like, wait, we're out of materials, we're out of money, and I think there's a scripture somewhere that says, count the costs before you get started, that, so that you have enough to actually put together something of quality and of excellence with excellence. So thank you so much for this tool, this resource to help us and including myself, get to where we truly want to be. So, Consuela, tell us a little bit more about you and your journey and what the future looks like for you. What's down the road for you? You talked about setting goals and making plans. So what can we look forward to next?
So I am, continuing down this. I'm working with the folks that are in my group to really start having some things. We've added as part of our accountability function of our process that we're working under another resource, which is the 12-week year. And it's really exciting because it's a new way to think about time, which is great when you have an idea generating squirrel kind of brain, right? Because I can think about time in a different way, which makes it new and shiny, but also it's a new way that's really empowering to take back your time and really gives you that urgency of your time. And so for me, one of the exciting parts is, and somebody could say, well, that's really just quarters and that's still annual, but it is a mindset shift of thinking about time. And the lovely thing is that there are actually 13 weeks in a quarter. So we're dealing with 12, which means that 13th week is a bonus. Yay, bonus week. So if you're not quite to your goals, you got a little extra time. However, if you reach your goals, that bonus week is a free week, right? It's something you can do. And so maybe taking a vacation every 13th week or, squirreling out on that 13th week. But it's exciting to think that every 13th week, I get a week off of all the things that I've been doing and all that's, focused action to play or be on vacation. So for me, just looking forward to more speaking and achieving my goals in my 12 weeks. And then, man, having that bonus extra play week of the 13th week is something that going forward, I'm looking forward to having more and more of.
Wow. I love that. I love that concept. And I love the whole idea of setting your goals for the 12 weeks. And then that 13th week, it's all yours. And one of the things as an entrepreneur, I don't know if I'm the only one that this happens to, but I actually attempted to take a vacation and relax, right? And I couldn't do it. My brain would not shut off. I could not stop thinking about what's happening back in the office, what's happening with the clients, what's happening with the team. It was so hard. And I had no idea that relaxing would ever be a challenge for me.
We want to change that, right? And I know what you're saying. That's part of it, like hiring a team that you trust. Right. And leaving it in their hands, but knowing that you have accomplished what you set out to for those 12 weeks.
Right.
So that you can relax, enjoy, because it is really hard, right? They talk about the ramp up. So like you go on vacation and the first 3 days you're fretting about what you didn't get done. And then you've got a day or so, and then you're fretting about what's going to happen when you get back, right? So a week vacation is really 2 days, right? Like we want to change that. You want to be able to wrap up and know, like, I got this done. One way to think about it, which goes to that vacation thing, if you think about you're getting into November and the end of the year is like on the horizon, you're like, oh my goodness, I said I was going to do X and I don't have it done. And you're like, dang, I need to focus and I'm going to get X done. And you do, right? You focus. And by the end of the year, you achieved X and you're like, yes.
Right.
But that was November and December. What were you doing the entire rest of the year on X, right? And so we get into that thing. So if you think about in this 12 weeks, I'm going to do X, just that one thing, I'm going to do it. And when you complete it, boom. Vacation comes really easy because you did what you said you were going to do and you got it done. And we do all this work up front to say, what is X got to be? What are the actions I have to take daily? What are the actions I have to take weekly to make sure X gets done?
Right.
And we know that X will happen if we take our actions, because the actions we can control. You cannot control the results, right? We can't say, I want to lose 10 pounds. And if you're fretting about it every day, it's going to be hard. But if you say, I'm going to lose 10 pounds and every day I'm going to watch my calorie intake. If you didn't watch your calorie intake, you can control that. And if you do, the result will happen. So it takes all that pressure off the result, puts it on the actions, which you can completely control. That 12 weeks is up. You've got it done. Go enjoy in peace on your 13th week.
Right, right. And that's where the discipline comes in. I love that because there are steps that get you to that 13th week, and it's being disciplined enough to do what you got to do in the 12 daily, weekly, and then the rest of it comes together because you've done the daily actions, you've done the weekly actions, you've done all of the things that you were supposed to do. And and sometimes, like with us, it could be building the business and making sales calls or trying to bring on new clients. If you make all the calls and you do all the follow-ups and all of that, everything else is going to fall into its place the way it's supposed to when it's supposed to. And you just got to keep on feeding that thing or doing X to get you to the 12th week. And at least that way, you've done something. You've been productive. You have made moves to get to your goals or to reach the goals that you have set for yourself and for your business, whether it's personal or professional.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And
it comes back to that powerful goal again, because if you've set that goal that means so much to you, like when you read it, you have this strong, positive, emotional reaction. It's really important. Then you own that goal. And when you have ownership over a goal, it's easier to commit to the actions. And we're not just going to do any actions, right? We go through all the actions you could possibly take that would achieve that goal. And we prioritize it down to, if I did nothing else but these 2 actions, I would achieve the goal. And those are the actions we prescribe for us and the frequency that we need to do them. Because a lot of times we can feel like we're busy, right? I'm doing stuff every day. I'm working hard every day. I'm doing all these things and nothing's happening. But what are we working on? So we set that up before we even get started. Before week 1, we're like, okay, but if I do these 3 things, I'm going to get the result. And sometimes they can be the things that we know we should do, but we don't want to do. Right. And so we can distract ourselves with taking a training course or building a program when we know we should be calling people. Right. And so whatever it is, we set them up and how many we need to do and how often, and it takes care of all that pressure, because like I didn't do what I had to do on Friday. That's on me.
Right. Exactly. And I love that we are like right here, like seeing eye to eye. I can relate to every single thing you're saying, because throughout the day, as I'm doing things, I have to, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, is this the thing I'm supposed to be doing? Is this how I'm supposed to be spending my time right now? Yep. Am I supposed to be on Facebook at this particular moment? Am I supposed to be on the phone having this conversation with this person? Whatever it is, it's like, is this how I'm supposed to be spending my time right now if I want to achieve what I set up for myself and as I own my goals?
If you have ownership over that goal, it's much easier. And once you start in that process, it becomes easier and easier for you to say, I don't want to go to a 3-day training because that's like half my week. No. I have things I have to get done. I'll go to part of it or whatever. But your time becomes very precious to you in a way that's important for us to really achieve what we want to achieve. We can't manage time, y'all. I know there's all kinds of time management. We can't manage it. We all got the same amount of time. Time is time, but we can manage how we play in it. We can manage the distractions that pop up and our focus. And that's what we need to do. We need to be focused on the activities that we know that we've determined ahead of time will get us the results. And that's what we have to make sure we get done. Now we're going to do other things, but those are the must get done before the day is over.
That's right. Absolutely. I love how you put that. We can't manage our time, but we can manage how we spend the time we have, because we all have the same amount of time. And time is precious and you can't get it back. So you have to make sure that every moment that you spend throughout the day is helping you towards your goal, helping you live in your purpose and do the things that you have set for yourself and own your goals and on this journey. So as we get ready to wrap up, and before we go, I want to share something super exciting with you, Consuela, and our audience. We've got even more amazing content for our viewers to check out on the Renee Speaks Golden Nuggets program. It's starting in June, and you can catch exclusive content from this show every Tuesday at 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern on 100 TV Network. It's full of extra interview questions, behind-the-scenes stories, and all kinds of inspiration and empowerment to keep you going throughout the week. So be sure to mark your calendars starting in June for Renee Speaks Golden Nuggets, only on 100 TV. Well, thank you, Consuela. It's been amazing having you on Renee Speaks, and I can't wait to see you in the green room as we go talk golden nuggets.
Find a mentor.
To learn things.
It's like a multi-million-dollar business.
Of your journey.
Moments in time we can make an impact one
A little bit better.
When it comes to launch, feel
Everything that
fulfilled.
is
You were made for something great, so go and be awesome.